Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Hell's Health. My 22 male girlfriend, 23 female, is secretly visiting my abusive parents with our son, 3 male, and doesn't understand why this upset me. We had a huge fight and I don't know what to do now. I didn't have an easy time growing up. My childhood was so effed up that I sort of just put it all in a mental box and left it at that. Needless to say, I left my parents as soon as I could and then went no contact and haven't seen them since. There's several reasons I went no contact and she seemed understanding enough when I told her that I didn't even want to tell my parents about their grandson. I don't want my son around these people. I don't want my girlfriend around these people. And above all, I would never leave any child alone around these people. My girlfriend doesn't know about what exactly my father did to me and my sister. But I also feel like she doesn't have to know in order to respect my wishes. Yesterday, my sister texted me a picture of my parents' dog and in the background was my son's shoes. Our mother uploaded it on Facebook, where I have them blocked, but my sister recognized the shoes, though mainly was concerned about them even having a kid over. My girlfriend and I were both at work. She's only part-time, but we always have someone to watch our child, either my sister or my girlfriend's family. So it's not like she had to bring him there to have someone watch him. This was a deliberate decision that she should have made with me. I talked to my son about it and turns out he's been there several times unsupervised, alone with my father. Apparently, nothing happened, but I was understandably angry and confronted my girlfriend as soon as she came back home. This, of course, led to a huge fight. She left crying and went to her parents' house, and later her mother came to pick up my son, which I refused, which led to a fight with her mom too. My girlfriend texted me asking to talk later today, and I know I can't keep my son from her. I also don't want to, but I don't want to go into our conversation unprepared, so any advice is welcome. I also feel betrayed and still very angry, and I'm honestly ready to break up over this, but my son is very upset and anxious because he heard our fight, and I'm just at a complete loss and don't know how to handle this. OP, you are very right to be feeling betrayed. Your girlfriend crossed a line that you'd buried deep for a reason. And you shouldn't have to go into specifics with your girlfriend if you don't want to. It should have been enough for her that you told her that you are no contact with your parents and that you don't want your son near them. But the bottom line of this situation is that you had drawn a boundary and she not only stepped on it, she torched it. You're not overreacting. You're reeling from a wound that's reopened. Now, to prepare yourself for your conversation, you need to write down your non-negotiables. Your son never sees your parents again. Period. All your girlfriend needs to know is that you don't want your son near them because you want to protect him. And when you talk to your girlfriend, you stay calm but determined. Other than that, I would ask her to explain herself. Why did she think this would ever be a good idea? How long has she been in contact with your parents? Get as much information as possible. And also, I would start thinking of a good way to co-parent because I don't know if I would be able to stay with somebody who would betray me like this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Anonymoosehead123 says, tell her she can have you in her life or she can have your parents. However, she can't have both. She needs to decide right now what her choice is. You also need to tell her that if she ever deceives you again about something involving your child, your relationship will be over and you'll take whatever legal steps you can to bar her from involving your parents in your child's life. You have to be very firm about this. Tandy81 says, go see a lawyer, get full custody. She doesn't care about your son, putting him in danger. And Big Truck Club says, my advice. 1. Find out why she went behind your back. You're right, she shouldn't need to know why you don't want your kid around your parents to respect that, but I can see why someone who's never experienced it wouldn't see there's a problem. Did she do it because she thinks she knows better than you? Probably. That's a trust issue. Why doesn't she believe you? 2. You let her know your trust of her with your kid is broken due to number 1, and her mom coming to jump in the fight only reinforces that you can't trust her or her family with your kid. You might need to explain that she knowingly put your kid in danger, and right now you can't trust that she won't do it again. Would she put your kid in the car without a car seat? Hopefully not. Would she leave your kid with a stranger? Hopefully not. Would she leave your kid with a known child abuser? Hopefully not. Expect, oh, maybe she did. Also, she taught your kid to lie to you. That's rough. 3. Think of some boundaries or behaviors that can help her gain back your trust. Let her know that if she can't gain back your trust, you might need to take legal action to prevent your kid from being around your parents. It's that serious. It will destroy your relationship with her if she does it again. It's that serious. And 4, figure out why the heck she left him there. You say you have babysitters and childcare, so even if she thought they needed to repair a relationship, figure out why the heck she left. She knew that you had issues with them, even if she thought better. Why would she leave him alone there? 3 and 4 could lead to the relationship ending. Honestly, 1 and 2 too. But it sounds suspect or like there's more to what she did. If you really think she is really sorry and nothing else happened, then couples counseling could help you rebuild some trust in her. If you don't think she's sorry and there's a non-zero chance of it happening again, I'd contact a lawyer. And Opie responds, thank you for the step-by-step, I guess, and putting into words what exactly hurt me so much about all this, because it ultimately is a trust thing. My number 1 priority is figuring out if my son is alright and why she did that. Then I guess I need to see if I can move on from it or if our relationship is over. Anyway, thank you for putting this into words so she'll hopefully understand why this is such a big thing. Additional information from Opie's comments. I didn't say one thing in my post about talking to my son. I panicked when he said it was something he wasn't supposed to say. She apparently told him it was a surprise, and that's why he had to say he was at her parents'. I wouldn't have been this upset had she cheated on me, but she involved him, made him keep a secret, and put him at risk. And the more I've been thinking about this, the more I feel like I just can't trust her anymore. Especially if something happened and he just doesn't realize it, or I haven't asked the right questions, or he doesn't have the vocabulary. And even without her knowing the whole story, I always felt like she knew enough about my childhood. I can understand it too. Her mother also told me not to hold grudges, and my father apparently has issues with his liver. Wonder where that's coming from. So I should just take the first step and forgive them. But this is my decision, and she kept it a secret for months and essentially told my son to lie to me. Also, my sister and I have no proof of what happened, and she wanted to get financial aid because her PTSD makes it harder for her to work. Unfortunately, her lawyer said it'd be hard to get anyone to believe her or us. She gave up on that eventually. A couple of people have suggested lawyers and custody agreements, but I'm worried that my son would get to live with my girlfriend and her family if we did break up because I have nobody in my corner except for my sister. While she's his mom and has a whole family to support her. Admitting to or confronting what happened with my parents in the past is really hard for me, which is why I never actually told her in detail. I think that was my mistake. I never considered that she would wish for him to get to meet them. Up until my sister texted me the photo, I had kind of just ignored that they existed. Okay, apparently the majority of the community thinks that OP can still try to fix the relationship, but honestly, with this level of betrayal, I don't think it's possible. And apparently, she and her parents want OP to take the first step and forgive them. Yeah, no. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. First of all, thank you for all the comments and input. I didn't feel like I could even think when I made my initial post, so it was good getting different perspectives. I did write that my girlfriend and I would talk the same day I posted, but we didn't because I needed to sort myself out, and I think she did too. She's been avoiding me ever since and requested we talk at her parents' place, but I didn't want that, so we didn't get to talk until yesterday while my son was at my sister's. Apparently, in September last year, my mother reached out to my girlfriend on Facebook asking how me and my son were doing. My mother is a very intelligent woman but highly manipulative. She convinced my girlfriend to visit them because my father is ill. My girlfriend said she didn't tell me because she knew I'd say no and she wanted to see what kind of people my parents were. She brought our son but didn't leave him alone at first. but her visits got fairly regular and she became comfortable with leaving him with my parents. He seemed fine, even seemed to like it there, so she didn't feel like he was in danger. The first time she left my son fully alone was when she went Christmas shopping. I think from what I told her about my childhood home, she expected a house of horrors, but according to her, the place was clean and fixed up. The dog was healthy and my parents were nice. The thing is that she knew something happened to my sister. I never told her what happened to me, which I now see I probably should have done. She doesn't see predators everywhere like I do, and when my son didn't report anything negative, she saw no issue taking him and leaving him there. It's pretty clear that she doesn't know anything about abuse and what it can look like. I don't understand how she can think she'd be able to spot the signs with this little knowledge. My father has been in contact with children most of my life, and while I don't know if he's done anything to them, my sister always said he knew how to make children feel at ease. Both my parents are very methodical and calculating, so I don't blame her for believing them, but I blame her for not discussing this with me. She went to visit them after talking to my mother for a few days. Meanwhile, I've lived here for 17 years and somehow she thought she knew better than me. Even when I told her some details about my childhood, she still tried to push supervised visits, saying my father was ill and my son had a right to meet his grandparents, which I don't agree with at all. The thought of children being around these people makes me sick, but she seems reluctant to agree to officially limit their visitation rights. I'd need her agreement, however, unless I want a court case. I also tried to explain why this felt like a betrayal, because this is not just about putting my son in danger, it's also about her going behind my back for months. What else would she be capable of? She then told my son to keep the visits a secret, which is exactly what abusers say too. She did apologize, saying she made an honest mistake. That was not an honest mistake. And feels like I'm blowing this out of proportion and that her parents think so too. Besides, our son is fine and I shouldn't have raised my voice at her and should be more grateful for what her parents have done for me and us over the years. Which I am. I owe them, sure. But that doesn't mean they can just overrule my parenting decisions or get so involved. I feel like neither her nor her parents trust me or take me seriously, and it's so frustrating when the mother of your son is pretty much actively working against you. I don't think she can even grasp how terrified I was when I talked to my son about their visits. Again, I know it's my fault for not telling her everything, but I never thought she would do something like that. My past never really affected me much anyway. I never felt like there was a reason for her to know all the details. Honestly, I don't know if anything is resolved. I know why she made the choices she made, but I don't feel like she understands why I was and still am upset. She left after bringing up her mother because I got angry and I know I shouldn't have, but I revealed something so big and just still don't get taken seriously. I want us to work, and she agreed that it'd take a lot of work to get back to before all of this, which I'm not even sure it's possible. I apparently deeply upset her and scared our son. True, I never wanted us to fight in front of him like that either, and I angered her family. I think for me emotionally, all feelings for her vanished the moment I found out, so that's kind of where I am now. I wish we could make it work for his sake, but I don't want him to grow up with dysfunctional parents or with his parents fighting every day, so if this doesn't work out, I'll need to get a lawyer. I'm willing to put in the work needed for us to stay together, but I've been doing a lot of thinking. We were so young when we started dating and had our son, and I'm not sure I ever thought about us staying together forever. I only stayed because I was living with them, and then I stayed because I didn't want to be a crappy teen dad, abandoning my son and the girl I loved, because I really did love her, I think. Also, I am partially responsible for her being pregnant in the first place. Yeah, I'd say like 50%, before he was even born. As for my son, I have talked a lot to him these past few days. I had taught him about touch and what's okay and what isn't, so I just hope it's true that nothing happened. He has also apparently not seen anything inappropriate. Our fight got to him though, and he knows I was sad and knows his mom is too, and I hope him and I talked it out enough and that my girlfriend gets to talk about this with him too. We might just sit him down or something. I'll need to talk to her about that. Opie's edit. I feel the need to clarify a few things. Also, I see a bunch of people fighting in the comments and I didn't word things as clearly as I should have in the post. I went no contact with my parents when I moved out for good. When my girlfriend was pregnant, we talked about my parents, and I told her I did not want to tell them they were going to be grandparents, and I did not want them to ever see our child. She agreed, and that was it. Her and I have talked about my childhood prior to my first post. She knows enough about my living conditions to know it was unsafe for any child. She knows my father is a violent alcoholic, and she knows about a lot of the crazy crap my mother pulled over the years. She knows my sister has a PTSD diagnosis, and she knows my father touched her. That is everything she knew, and I honestly think that should have been more than enough. Her parents also know about most of this. Yes, I raised my voice at her and her mom when I found out she had been taking him there, and I should definitely not have done that. It's been really hard to stay calm when talking about my parents, especially with her refusing to listen to me. Our conversation was very emotional as well, but I ultimately just shut down after I told her that my father had also abused me, and yet she still said, "I don't see why we can't do supervised visits." And I don't even have an argument because logically, he can't do anything with someone watching it, but it still feels like I'd be trafficking my son even if he doesn't touch him at all, and I can't even explain why I feel that way. People in the comments say it's just an emotional response, which is true, and maybe it's logical, but I truly don't see how getting to know his grandparents would be beneficial to him anyway. The reason I hadn't told her the details before is because I was fine being intimate. I managed at work. It's not like I want to end my life every day because my parents were crappy or something. It didn't need to be brought up. And then having to talk about it is just painful, and there's a lot of shame and just things my parents, I guess, brainwashed me to feel. I felt even more impossible after how dismissive she was. Things have calmed down between us now. Maybe it's sinking in for her now, even though she still argues that nothing happened and ultimately everything was fine. But it feels like that's just her inability to accept she's made a mistake repeatedly. She said she really thought they were okay because they seemed normal. Clean house and all. Their dog is not a ball of matted hair like our old one, everything being the opposite of how I described it. I don't think she'd bring him there behind my back again, but I obviously can't say for certain. We have not talked about this anymore. Maybe we need that right now so our son doesn't realize how bad it is between us currently, though I'm worried he knows anyways. I think we will separate though. I don't see us as future partners anymore. Her teaching him to lie to me and her parents apparently told her that it isn't a big deal really scares me. I'm really scared they will paint me as abusive or something because I really don't have much going for me when it comes to custody. She's the one with a functional support system, with people helping her look after our child, and her parents have the money for a good lawyer and can risk a lengthy legal battle. All of this, however, are things I need to talk to a lawyer about as soon as I find one. I'm not feeling anything for her anymore, not even anger. I know we can't stay together. I don't want us to end up like my parents. I don't want my son exposed to that. So I'm going to have to discuss separating with a lawyer and then decide from there. I think the best I can hope for is that we'll separate without much fighting and that we can co-parent effectively, which is also why I don't want to stir up any more arguments. I'll definitely take legal steps against my parents seeing him though, as well as taking him to a doctor. Wow, OP, I am so sorry that you've gone through all of this, not just with your parents in your past, but also having that idiot for a girlfriend, and her parents are just clueless. I do hope you're able to get legal help to protect your son and yourself from these people, all of them. So in the meantime, here's wishing you and your son the best, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user DVD Maven. You said to kill the print job. I was working at a major equipment manufacturer as a systems administrator. One day, a salesman came charging into the admin area yelling about his report not printing. So I called up the spooler and saw a huge 140 megabyte print job clogging the queue. This was back in the days of text-based everything. The report would have been thousands of pages long. I told him what the problem was, and he told me to kill the big print job as he had to get his report out. I killed it. About 10 minutes later, he was back saying his report has vanished. I said, "You told me to kill it. Do you think I would have killed someone else's print job on your command?" He got a bit upset, so I called up his keyboard logger, which he didn't know about. I looked at the SQL command and said, "You were trying to print out every sale every person made for the last 5 years. He wanted me to fix it, but as a system admin, I did not have access to do anything to the Oracle database except run the nightly backups. Go see a database admin." Got a call from the lead database admin asking why the salesman had command line access to the database. I had no idea, but I called up the keylogger for the salesman and said, "He's logged as a DBA who left the company. Oops." The account was killed and the salesman got fired. Well, he wanted you to kill the print job, he killed his job. Thanks for sharing, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe